The bitten Apple logo you see on phones, laptops, and tablets across the world belongs to Apple. But the man who created this logo and this company was once pushed out of it. Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, was fired from his own company at the age of 30. What led to this shocking decision? And how did this failure become the biggest turning point of his life? Steve Jobs was born on February 24, 1955, in California. He was adopted by a middle-class family and grew up with a deep interest in electronics. Steve was intelligent, but he never liked rules. Because of this, he dropped out of college after just 6 months. In 1976, when Steve Jobs was only 21 years old, he started working from his parents' garage with his friend Steve Wozniak. They had no money, no office, and no guarantee of success. Steve even sold his car to buy electronic parts. Together, they built their first computer and named their company Apple. At first, nobody took them seriously. Two young men working from a garage did not look like the future of technology. Slowly, though, Apple computers started gaining attention. They were simple, different, and useful. Within a few years, Apple grew rapidly. Success, however, did not last long. In 1985, disagreements began between Steve Jobs and Apple's board of directors. They felt he was difficult to work with and did not trust his decisions. Finally, the board made a shocking move. They removed Steve Jobs from Apple. Steve Jobs was fired from the company he had created. This event deeply hurt him, not because of money, but because Apple was his life's work. For months, Steve felt lost. He had no role, no team, and no direction. Steve Jobs, though, did not stop. He started a new company called Next, determined to prove his critics wrong. He poured everything he had into it: his money, his reputation, his pride. The computers Next built were sleek and powerful, ahead of their time. There was just one problem. They were too expensive. Sales were painfully slow. Tech reviewers admired the machines, but almost no one bought them. Around the same time, Steve bought a small animation company called Pixar for $10 million. For years, Pixar bled money. The team struggled to find a direction. Investors walked away. Then, in 1995, everything changed. Pixar released Toy Story, the world's first fully computer-animated movie. The film became a massive success. Pixar turned into a powerhouse, and Steve Jobs became successful again. 2 years later, in 1997, Apple was close to collapse. In desperation, Apple contacted Steve Jobs and asked him to return. Steve Jobs came back. He cut unnecessary products, simplified the company, and rebuilt Apple step by step. In 2001, Apple launched the iPod. In 2007, iPhone was launched, and in 2010, the iPad. The man who was once fired from Apple turned it into the most valuable company in the world. Later in life, Steve Jobs said that getting fired from Apple was the best thing that ever happened to him. It freed him to learn, to fail, and to grow. Steve Jobs passed away in 2011, but his story remains a powerful reminder. Sometimes losing everything is not the end. Sometimes it is just the beginning.